Thank you for joining us for another Wednesday press conference. With the Juneteenth holiday coming up, we have a variety of speakers for you this morning. They're going to speak about the CMPD role in making sure that this is a safe holiday for everyone, as well as a reflection on an event from last year as well. To start us off, Chief of Police Johnny Jennings.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Good morning. Thanks, everyone, for being here. And I do want to wish everyone a happy upcoming Juneteenth holiday. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department's been made aware of several events that are going to be occurring over this coming weekend. I personally want to thank all of the coordinators or all the organizers of these events for their coordination and communication with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. I think this is so important to make sure that as we go into this weekend that we provide safe environment for everyone that plans to attend and everyone that's going to be working these events as well. So with that, I want to say that the coordination and the collaboration with these organizers is what's going to make it successful and what's so important as we move into the weekend. CMPD does have availability of several resources that we will have in place this weekend to ensure that safety. The division captains have made sure that their staffing and their resources are available to be able to handle any unique situations that might come up over the weekend as well. So specifically to talk about the Metro Division plan is Captain Lucas Veith, who I'm going to invite to the podium at this time. Lucas.
Thank you, Chief. I'm Lucas Veith. I'm the captain of the Metro Division. It is heart and soul of Charlotte. It also has Beatty-Ford Road, which goes through the center of the division. The division itself has about 31,000 residents, and we will be, as a division, highly representative as far as all the officers and highly visible in the area to ensure a safe time for everyone. The key is, of the 31,000 residents, we encourage everyone to have a good time, to practice and be safe. However, our officers and the community are encouraged to ensure that anyone who's not there to have a good time and to not there to practice safe and follow the rules will be disrupted, and we will be there to ensure that all activities are safe. One of those activities that we're ensuring is a safe traffic mitigation plan, which will ensure that Beatty-Ford Road remains open and that there is not reckless driving or unsafe movement. This will ensure that the community can go to and from businesses, places of worship, as well as safety and emergency vehicles can go back and forth. Just like all plans, our plans are adaptable, and that will ensure that if need be, we can modify those plans to assist with the community in keeping them safe. The Juneteenth and the safety planning does not just start this weekend. That is something that the Metro Division has practiced throughout the year. And we have maintained and increased high visibility, bike officers, coordinators, all-terrain vehicles, dual sports, walking beats, high visibility safety patrols, as well as ensuring extra overtime hours for the safety of the community. One of those things is that the division works extremely hard to both maintain and build upon the relationships we have with our businesses, our communities, our places of worship. Of course, the very key to that is communication, both back and forth. These relationships have enabled us to improve and solve some of our communication difficulties and ensure that any safety issues are expressed back and forth, and we're there to respond. Throughout the year, in addition to increasing our proactivity levels, we have community roll calls in the neighborhoods. We have walking beats and have averaged over 400 individual events, whether it be roll calls in the community or foot patrols, to ensure that the community has everything that they need and see us and know us and can call us anytime anything is needed.
Thank you, Captain. And as we talk about this year's events, it would be remiss for us not to reflect back on those that we lost, those who were hurt, and those who were affected by last year's incident on Beatty-Ford Road. Here with us now to speak is Lieutenant Brian Crum of the Homicide Unit to provide us with an update on last year's case.
Good morning. On June 22nd of last year, we lost 4 of our neighbors and 5 others were injured, and countless other community members were traumatized by what they saw and experienced that evening. Since then, our detectives have been working tirelessly along with our federal partners, the ATF and FBI, and leveraging our collective resources to progress that investigation. While I can't share with you great news today about an arrest, I can tell you that we have begun to develop a better idea of what happened that evening. And we still need community members to come forward. Like I said, there were hundreds of people present that night, and we have yet to get that one piece of information that we really need to be able to make those arrests and progress the case. I think that a lot of times when we have that many people present, it's sometimes challenging to get that critical piece of the puzzle because each person sees their very small piece of the puzzle. I think that's a really good metaphor to describe, what we have is some of our cases that we investigate have 100 pieces, and it's very easy to see what the picture is. So each person's piece is larger, and they may realize what they're looking at. But in this particular case, there's so many small pieces, people may not realize how critical their part is in seeing the full picture. So we continue to ask our community to come forward with information. As I said, we have a lot of people that have spoken with us, but we need to continue to collect that information. As a reminder, there's a $17,300 reward for information leading to arrests in this case, and we would just encourage people to step up and help us. I know it's challenging, it can take a lot of courage, but we really ask them to come forward and help their neighbors and help find closure for the 4 neighbors we lost and the 5 other people that were injured. As always, they can contact Crime Stoppers to report that information anonymously, or they can contact our tip line at 704-432-TIPS to speak directly with the homicide detective. I can take a couple of questions if you guys have them.
Any specific kind of information that might be useful? Like someone might think it's insignificant, but hearing, are you able to share any more details about that?
I'd say all information is critical because it's very easy to discount what you saw as being unimportant, but something as simple as, just seeing who you were around or who else you saw can lead us to other witnesses that can really get the ball rolling. It's kind of like, the stone rolling down a hill, it gains speed as you move. It just takes that one little nudge to get things rolling. So telling us, hey, I saw these 3 people that were with me, we can go talk to those 3 people and maybe they lead us to the next piece of the puzzle.
You said over the past year that you found a better idea of what happened. Can you share any details of what led up to the shooting, even a small detail of what could have happened?
I really can't get too far into that, again, because, like I said, it's very important that we have all the information. It's in an ongoing investigation. I think that it probably goes back to a lot of the themes that we see, though, is just minor things kind of becoming out of control, minor disagreements that kind of blow up.
Some people have said that there's a possibility this could be gang-related. Is there any update on that possibility?
I don't have any information that this is gang-related at this point.
Okay. And a follow-up to that, some people on Beatty'sford Road in that culture, in that community, have commented about the culture of snitching and not wanting to be a snitch. Can you talk to that and any ease you can give to people if they do come forward with information?
Sure. I think anytime, it's not just the snitching culture, the snitching, so to speak, culture. I think it's always challenging. It takes a lot of courage. We see this from our witnesses all the time that have to come forward and really show that courage to share what they know. It can be really hard to be the person that stands up and says, I'm going to be the one to share what I know. Like I said, just that courage that we hope to see from people. I hope that we reflect that in them and that we keep that information in confidence. If they're tremendously scared or worried about that, they can contact Crime Stoppers anonymously. We don't want their name. We just want their information. But we also hold that information when people talk to us in the best confidence that we can.
Talk about what it would mean to the families of the 4 people who were killed and the 5 people who were injured. Talk about what it would mean for people to come forward with information about this case.
I think it would be tremendous for them. There's nothing that can bring their loved ones back, but being able to make an arrest or share some good news with them in a case it's a terrible situation, I think is tremendously helpful for them in taking some steps towards towards some closure, some type of closure.
I have a question, but it's not for you.
Any other questions for Lieutenant Crum specific to the Beatty'sford Road shooting?
So it's fair to say that progress has been,
No, go ahead.
Progress has been made as far as getting closer to an arrest?
Absolutely. Again, it's when you have that many people, that many pieces of motion, we're gaining information all the time. It just takes a long time to be able to put that all together. But absolutely, we've had community members come forward and speak with us. We've talked about NIBIN and what an asset that's been to us. That's the system that can compare shell casings in various cases. And then again, information that we've gotten from other partners that have helped us out. So we have certainly progressed. It's just there's a lot that happened that night, so it takes a long time to be able to progress publicly.
And what would you say to community members that are frustrated that we are at this one-year marker next week and that there haven't been any arrests?
We're frustrated too. Stick with us. We're going to continue working, and we can never guarantee results, but I can tell you we will follow every possible lead that we have and in the attempt to bring resolution in this case.
Do we know if the shooters were trying to target somebody in that crowd, or were they just trying to cause chaos? And then secondly, how many witnesses have come forward? Can you give us a ballpark number?
I really can't give you details on either one of those. Again, kind of going back to trust, we don't want to number witnesses or get into details specific to that, because I think it is important that we keep their information in confidence. And at this point in the investigation, we don't want to share information because there are so many witnesses outstanding as far as motive goes, because it's important that we hear what their perspective was on the incident.
All right, thank you, Lieutenant. Before we conclude this morning, we will open it up to questions specific to this year's Juneteenth preparation on the part of the CMPD. Any questions? And then work with me, as always. Once we have one speaker come up, let's try to stick with questions specific to that one speaker.
I'm wondering if Chief Jennings might be able to speak on, it's been a year in this mass shooting, 300 people were there, so many injured, and still no arrests. If you have a comment on what this year's been like and how you're feeling about no arrests yet.
Yeah, so you heard Lieutenant Crum talk earlier about the frustration. I share in that. This was early on. I'd already been announced as the next police chief, and then going in to be sworn in as the chief. This was one thing that I saw as a cloud. It was frustrating from the beginning, early on. As we started moving through the investigation, however, we did see more and more people come forward and try to help. But if you can imagine the difficulty in piecing all of this together, people look at it as, a year is a long time. But when you see the great work that the men and women in investigations, as well as with our federal and state partners, have been able to help us with, you could understand why it would take so long. But then when you see all of those efforts not being able to put those final pieces of the puzzle together to make the arrests that are necessary, it is frustrating.
One of my coworkers says that they hear that the department can't get officers to voluntarily take overtime through the OT program for Juneteenth, so the city's having to pay extra for officers to work. Is that a challenge you guys are dealing with, or?
No, that's not a challenge I've been made aware of. We have staffing that's available. Our officers have always been fantastic in stepping up when they see the needs that we have to keep our community safe. I don't have any issues with our officers taking that stand and saying that they're going to sacrifice their own weekend, they're going to sacrifice their days off, and they've always been willing to step forward and do that. So we have to appreciate them and what they do for our community.
Are you all aware of any event that's going to take place on Beatty's Ford Road, like last year where there was numerous days in a row where people were out kind of having a block party?
Yeah, so all of the events, like I said, have been, we've had coordination and communication with them. I am aware of an event that will recognize what happened last year with the march, and we're going to help facilitate that as best we can. And hopefully, is the way this is being planned out, we're looking for a safe and peaceful event that is going to be honorable to those that we lost last year, and I look forward to that.
And then how can the community be assured that we aren't going to see a repeat of last year? Because I know you said you're going to be blocking the roads off and everything, but it did seem like the events were peaceful and then just kind of went downhill to something else.
Well, if you look at last year, a lot of these events or the event that we're talking specifically is spontaneous, and we were going through days of that. Because of COVID last year, a lot of the organized events that we're seeing this year were not happening. This year, we are able to provide a lot of different opportunities for people to celebrate this holiday, and that's going to be, I think that creates a good atmosphere for people to go to and feel safe. When they're coordinated and they're worked along with us, we are able to provide safety a lot better than we would have for spontaneous events. So we're going to make sure that happens this year. So we're, if anything does arise, we want to be able to put that at a halt as quickly as possible. We have a good atmosphere this year, and where people are looking this as more of a celebration and not just something that they're going to take over the streets or do something spontaneous. So we're going to be able to stop that as soon as it happens.
And then your message to the community members who might want to just take it to the streets and cause what we saw last year.
Yeah. Put that energy somewhere else. Put that energy into the locations that are having organized events and go and celebrate. You know, don't tarnish this holiday with illegal activity or things that they want to do that are outside of safety concerns that we have for our city. There are plenty of events out there that they can go and celebrate, and we hope they take advantage of that.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you.
As always, get up with the public information team offline for any other questions that you may have, and thank you for coming.